There's been a new wave of speculation about Canon's next flagship mirrorless camera, the EOS R1 Mark II, and for good reason. A new report from a reliable source known for digging up wireless registration info before camera launches suggests that the R1 II will come with a global shutter sensor. That caught my attention right away, especially because it doesn't sound like a far-fetched guess at all. Let's take a closer look at why this prediction holds water, how it fits into Canon's history, and why it might be necessary if Canon wants to keep pace with Sony's rapid advances. When the original Canon EOS R1 launched in 2024, it was a serious step forward in Canon's mirrorless journey. It was fast, reliable, and built for professional use, especially for sports and wildlife shooters. But even with all the praise it got, there was one feature it didn't have: a true global shutter. Fast forward to now, and Sony's Alpha A9 III is already out there with a full-frame global shutter sensor delivering up to 120 FPS with full AF AE tracking. That kind of performance puts serious pressure on Canon. While Canon's R1 can shoot at 40 FPS using a stacked CMOS sensor, it's not in the same league when it comes to readout speed and zero distortion capture. This is where prediction makes sense. If Canon wants to stay in the flagship game, the next R1 has to step up its speed and sensor tech, and a global shutter is the obvious move. If you've followed Canon's sensor development path, this feels like a natural next step. Canon has been developing and patenting global shutter sensor technology for years. They even launched the EOS C700GS back in 2016 with a global shutter sensor, though that was a $40,000 cinema camera aimed at a very different market. Then there's the EOS R3, which was a bit of an outlier. It was initially developed out of Canon's dissatisfaction with the early R1 prototypes. The R3 wasn't just a stopgap, it became a testing ground for new features. And it worked. The R3 was well received in the pro space, with fast readout speeds and strong AF performance. But what it also did was shape the direction of the R1. The current R1 leans into professional controls and balances speed, sensitivity, and resolution. It feels like Canon has been laying the groundwork for something bigger, and the R1 II might be where all that work finally clicks together. Let's be real, Canon isn't trying to win the megapixel race. That's not their style. Instead, they've focused on practical speed and reliability. And in an interview not long ago, Canon's chief Takura made it clear that there won't be a second version of the R1 with more resolution. It's all about speed. We consider the flagship to be at the pinnacle of our lineup, which means we're not going to have two flagship models, he told Petapixel. We've put everything, the best performance and trust, into the EOS R1. That statement says a lot. If Canon is going to keep pushing speed without increasing resolution, they'll need a new type of sensor to get there. And as fast as Canon's current stacked sensors are, they still don't beat Sony's global shutter tech. Which brings us to what I believe is Canon's next big move, a global shutter sensor built using their own semiconductor tech, possibly one that uses stacked voltage memory. Canon already has patents pointing in this direction. They've built working sensors for industrial use, like the 19-megapixel Li5030 SAI, which can do nearly 58 FPS with a global shutter. So we know the building blocks are already there. Sony is already ahead in this race. The A9 III's 24.6 megapixel full-frame global shutter sensor and 120 FPS burst speed set a new benchmark. That's a massive leap for sports shooters, action photographers, and anyone who wants absolute freedom from rolling shutter artifacts. Canon's R1, while fast, starts to look a little dated in that context. The 40 FPS cap and stacked CMOS tech are excellent, but once you've seen 120 FPS without distortion, it's hard to ignore the difference. And Sony's not going to stop here. Rumors suggest we'll see the A9 IV in the next few years with a second-gen global shutter sensor. If Canon doesn't make the switch soon, it risks falling behind in a key area of mirrorless performance. Let's not forget, Canon isn't new to global shutter development. They've been working on this for years, and their patent library proves it. They've even announced working sensors like the LI5030 SAI and LI5030 SAN, which are designed for high-speed industrial applications. That means Canon already has global shutter sensors that are ready for real-world use. It's just a matter of scaling that up to full frame and optimizing it for photography. It's not just Canon and Sony. Other companies are also moving in this direction. Nikon recently acquired RED, a company that has worked closely with TowerJazz, one of the key suppliers of global shutter sensors. That gives Nikon a potential path toward global shutter tech in future Z series cameras. Plus, Nikon has a solid relationship with Sony's sensor division. So if they want access to the A1 or A9 III sensor tech, they're in a good position to get it. That means in the next 3 to 4 years, we'll likely see multiple global shutter cameras in the flagship space from several brands. If Canon doesn't jump on board now, the R1 could lose relevance quickly. Canon has a clear decision to make. Either stick with stacked CMOS and get left behind, or push forward with a full-frame global shutter sensor and keep the R1 II competitive for the next half-decade. All signs point to Canon being ready. They've got the patents, the industrial sensor know-how, and the motivation, especially now that Sony's raised the bar. The EOS R1 Mark II could be Canon's big moment to show that they're still leading the charge in innovation, not just keeping pace. And if predictions from this source turn out to be right, we might finally see Canon step into the global shutter arena in a big way. Let's hope the R1 II lives up to the hype. So, what do you think? Are you all excited for the new Canon R1 Mark II? Let us know in the comments below, and thanks for watching.